Okay, all right. We have 12 modules actually. It took us a while to get this thing done, and I hope that we are able to carry this thing on the 12 module. Actually, we have 36 modules. We have a basic, we have intermediate, and we have advanced. And I hope to get the point across and to form a platform for all of us to get together to share and then to talk about cases. Okay, this is module 1 out of the 12 module that we want to do for internal training for coaching purposes for all the existing practitioner that is seeing cancer patient and also managing cancer patient. Maybe our own doctor have cancer problems, or family have problems, or friends have problems. So this is module 1, the mechanism of occult cancer metastasis. We want to discuss cancer metastasis and recurrence, relapses, and who's the real culprit there. And this is the series that is going to talk about how we can use cancer vaccine effectively for a patient and help the patient to create their own cancer vaccine to heal once and for all. Also talk about antisense therapy, which is the supportive oligodendritic therapy, oligodendritic nucleotide therapy. Yes, this is something which is what we call the gene silencer and gene blocker. It's a therapeutic strategy planning for embryonic cancer stem cell blocking. The 12 module serial training for existing practitioner is also meant for the medical team. If you have a medical team or your staff or whoever wanted to get involved, that's okay, because our goal is to coach them and to make sure that our team of nutritionists and dietitian, food therapists, and also maybe physio and our nurses is able to interact with the group. So this is our team, and let me go through the slide. Okay, this is our team. Our team says hi, and I'm happily married, Kelly, and then we have 2 kids, and then this is our team in the center in USJ. Yes, the module 1, the truth about cancer, relapses, straight to the point approach. What are the things to be done during the training? I hope we can review and discuss cases, existing cases, if you have question and answer or frequently asked questions, solving the problems. Let me just close this. Yeah, solving the existing puzzles that you have. Maybe you have cases that you want to talk about investigation or how to do the trending. Maybe you want to list down your topic of interest also, and then we can try to do more video sessions. And I will give you a glance of all those. I already sent to you, I think, the basic course of this 12 topic. We have another 12 and another 12. Okay, so that is for intermediate and advanced if we stay together as a group down the road. Number 2 is to improve existing practice. To do treatment planning for patient and adjust and fine-tune our protocol if you already have a protocol, or adopt new skills. Okay, that's what we want to do during the training. So you are interactive sessions and make it good, that we can exchange idea and also share cases and talk about cases and co-managing, that's fine. And I don't work alone. I work with my MAFIM ESCO team member. All are very wonderful. We are backed up by oncologists and specialists as well. And we have a wonderful MAFIM team. Managing existing complication, number 3. If we have patients that is having complication now, or we want to minimize the side effects or somehow maximize and optimize the cure rate, these are the things that we should be doing during the training or the next 12 sessions. We hope to meet every week, every 7 days, or maybe every 10 days, 12 times, okay? The benefit of the training would be a wider and deeper understanding of the cancer and immunology, because I think maybe a lot of us, we know cancer, but we do not know immunology, or somehow mislink the immunology. And number 2 is prevent cancer, treat and cure cancer, finding the truth of permanent cure. How do we help the patient to cure once and for all? That's the important thing. Number 3 is to able to say confidently that we are a doctor and we know what is cancer and we can help ourselves or our family member. Number 4 is to develop a support group for cancer patients as well as family, doctor, community. That's important. Number 5 is to provide a strategy. Is the sound okay? Esther, sound is okay? Sure. Develop a support group for cancer patients, family, doctors, and community. Number 5 is to provide a strategic peer-to-peer cancer support group, P2P, peer-to-peer cancer support group, and a platform. This is to benefit the doctors and the patient, okay? And I have nothing to hide. No, no protocol to hide, just to share everything that I know as to empower each other to help more patients. Okay, number 6 is to redefine and participate in the change of Malaysian oncology landscape. And I hope I am able to be boldly speaking to oncologists and also specialists in the group. That's fine. And we have been working closely with a few centers like Beacon Hospital, with SAMC doctor, and we've been doing low-dose radiation combined with low-dose this immunotherapy and chemotherapy, as well as all these in beginning of the integrative movement. That's good. Number 7 is to improve and increase effective tertiary referral of oncology cases to larger center. Yes, that is important. We want to improve our rate of referral of the tertiary cases to oncological center. Esther, is that okay? Sound is good? Okay. And number 8 is participate in multi-center clinical trial of any cancer immunotherapy or cancer vaccine, if it is possible and if we have a team big enough. Well, we are looking for a patient who is maybe you're a doctor with patients, or many doctors, they themselves have cancer problem, or their family have cancer problem. So we're looking for patient to understand how to. We're looking for patient who is cancer stricken, still fighting, not given up. They wanted to do and know how to create a permanent healing result, which is free of any relapses. We want to look for patients to understand fully about other further non-toxic options of cancer therapy. Maybe they are under some cancer therapy, but they want more options and non-toxic. Number 3 is to review their current cancer disease and staging, review what is not working well. This should be done and over again in the next 12 times, and to summarize the disease and to do the treatment progress, update trending, and adjusting the existing treatment protocol. Number 5, patients who want to review the PET scan to personalize and tailor-made and refine new treatment protocol. That's fine, we can help them. Number 6, to find out root cause of cure. Yep, okay. And even though now is tumor-free, some patients are now tumor-free, but they are not sure that they are cured and there's no relapse, and they are unsure about whether they are cancer-free or not. Number 7 is to ask some burning questions to solve some urgent doubts or obstacles or issues to be solved for the patients. Okay, if you, after this training, you have patients like this, that's fine. Again, we can, take care of them. We can go through with them. And let's see, we are looking for doctor who wanted to immediately help themselves or relative to overcome cancers, to review whole cases. Okay, and doctors who want to fine-tune and adjust existing protocol, explore more treatment options, okay? Improve and increase investigation options. Some doctors who wants to develop new tests or protocol to increase the investigation capacity for their patients. Number 4, for doctors to form peer support group to discuss various cancer medical cases, new treatment solutions. Number 5 is to participate in learning and coaching new colleagues to help more patients. That's fine. It's a coaching program. It's interactive two-way program. It's not just me talking, although I have a mic now, but I don't work alone, and we should be interactive and asking questions later, and immediately make some changes to deploy new strategy quickly the next clinic day. This is number 6, doctor who want to do immediate new strategy for the next clinic day. Doctor number 7, asking some burning question to solve some urgent doubts. Okay, we can cater to that. Obstacle and solve issue to be solved. Okay, what is the module 1 today? We want to talk about the truth about cancer relapses. Straight to the point approach. Well, I have some highlighted words here. Okay, this, I promise you, this is the most complicated slide. It's an outline of our talk. If we can finish, then we will be about maybe 60 minutes, and then we will stop right there and then. The mechanism of relapses, metastasis, recurrence, the current limitation and resistance. Yes, we have mechanisms to understand the mechanism, to understand our limitation and resistance of the cancer. Number 2 is to find out the current failure rate and the cruelty. Are we still in the denial stage or acceptance? There's paradigm shift, getting good result. And I want to talk about Emily Whitehead. Emily Whitehead is a lady, they call it the patient 1, that is completely cured, impossibly cured, but completely cured a few years ago, rock and roll, and impact the whole world. Okay, that's Emily Whitehead. Yeah, the Kepala Putih, you know, the Whitehead. You can search online about this Emily Whitehead. You will know a lot of story about her, how she got healed once and for all. Got healed, not killed once and for all. Okay. Number 3 is tumor heterogeneity. What does that mean? Every tumor is complicated. They are full of good cells and bad cells. As a matter of fact, 80% good cells, 20% bad cells. Tumor is always full of cells that is like a population, like a village, okay? They have multi-lineage and they have a very common embryonic origin. Yes, there is an embryonic origin that is common, okay? We want to talk about macroscopic visible tumor. How is their behavior? And then the destiny, and then they become SOL. They call it the space occupying lesions. Okay, this is what we call the solid visible tumor. Every time when we deal with a cancer patient, there is always something that is visible, scannable on the ultrasound or palpable. Somehow you can feel the tumor. Sometimes it's on the PET scan. Okay, that's called macroscopic visible tumor. Okay. Well, every cancer patient, they have a microscopic invisible tumor that is a liquid tumor that is hiding in the lymphatic and in the blood. These are the tumor that is controlling the next 10 relapses, okay? It's all well planned. And this microscopic liquid tumor, they are planted years ago, maybe 5 years, 10 years before even they detect anything. We want to talk about TAA, tumor-associated antigen, which is often hidden. The highlighted word here is hidden. They hide. Okay, they are occult. And sometimes there is hybrid cancer cells. What is hybrid cancer cells? Some cancer cells, cancer stem cells, they hide inside macrophages. They call it the fusion cells. Yep. Not all your macrophage is helpful. Sometimes they call it the TAM, tumor-associated macrophage. Okay, these macrophage, well, they appear there helping you, but they are actually somehow, sometimes they engulf the cancer cells inside them, but the cells survive inside the macrophage and then they became a hybrid and then they cause a lot of relapses in the future. Well, we can deal with that. We can try to learn how to deal with that. Okay, tumor burden, okay, we have solid tumor burden, liquid tumor burden. Well, the worst is dying from the toxic burden actually, not just a tumor burden. Yes, we know tumor burden is important, but okay, the Trinity realm. What is the Trinity realm for cancer patient management? Well, if we don't understand the Trinity realm of cancer patient, which is the immune system first, second, the human survivor, the third only is the cancer. Okay, many of us, we just zoom into the cancer and say home to hospital and home to hospital, then the patient dies. So we're more of a killing of the patient rather than a cancer. Okay, no, we don't want to go into that area. We can talk about full spectrum chart. I will give you a full spectrum charts of cancer healing. And then the full spectrum talk about a journey rather than a destiny. And we truly need a team, not just the medical team, but patient need to have a team. You know, we train the patients how to form their team at home, how to work with multiple doctors, multiple center, multiple health aspect, not just depending 100% on oncologists, chemo and all this. No, they are not to be working alone, okay? So another thing I wanted to remind everyone is that if you can leave and get connection to Carl, Miss Carl, my assistant, and our assistant Esther, Victoria, May. Why? Because I want to make these sessions very effective for you is to have follow-ups. Okay, I will we'll try to send you study materials such as number 1, brochures, okay? These brochures are useful for you yourself or also even convert to your clinic name and then useful for patients. Number 2 is PowerPoint slide, yes, PDF, yes. And then clinical study, yes, of course. It's not just Kenny say, okay, I want to send you those clinical studies and clinical evidence-based clinical paper that maybe it is about 2 or 5, 2, 3, 4, maybe clinical, very useful clinical study paper, okay, through emails, okay, or maybe even physically send mail to you. Number 3 is to send a video link to you. The video link is about why and how, why video link, and then another type of video is how to video link, okay. And number 5 is DVD, training DVD, training VCDs, okay, we can mail it to you. So it's repeatable, it's to be practical and useful, and it's not just wasting of your time and my time, okay? Just we want to make it very practical and useful, okay? So we go back to this slide talking about the Trinity goal. Okay, what is a threefold success? Is it realistic or fantasy? So the threefold success that we want to achieve in patient and doctors is that understanding of the immunity and stimulate it and provide non-toxic healing process to generate healing program, to generate a healing zone in patients. That is important for preparing them to heal. How can you heal if you pour toxic substances inside a human being? So that is something that we should think. And then number three is to see cancer. I type here see cancer means helping the patient's immunity to see the cancer, turning the occult into obvious. That is important. Okay, then we want to begin with an end in mind. That means destiny is irrelevant if we have a wrong beginning. So we want to begin with an end in mind. What is the end in mind that we want to achieve in cancer patient is to let them heal once and for all. We call it the RFCR, relapse-free complete remission. Relapse-free complete remission is not available from hospital or drug, okay? It's not drug-induced. The whole thing is an immune system driven process, okay? And then case study, okay, and then answering objections, maybe FAQ, we review the learning point, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, so the whole idea is to turning the occult into obvious, okay? That's series module 1, okay? I will probably talk about our patients, Amy. So this Amy from Australia. Well, they blackened the eyes, but I at least opened one eye, and she's a pretty lady. Okay, that's our team, and this is Amy. Amy was a patient with it's a dead case. Okay, supposed to be a dead case, ampullary adenocarcinoma stage 3. Really a relapse. Okay, in February 11, February 14, February 18, February 26 last year. Multiple jaundice and multiple problems, and the disease is ampullary carcinoma, pancreatic cancer kind of thing, and then cancer markers was rising to 2,000, and then the moment when I met her, it's about 4,004, the CA199. She went through a Whipper surgery March 15 on 2019. Okay, the histopathological diagnosis is really the tissue diagnosis is really ampullary carcinoma, and it's a relapse. So can you imagine a young lady come to you, and it's not young lady, I mean 40 plus, young mother, okay, young mother. And she came with the relapse of CA199 4,400, and after Whipper surgery. Okay, Whipper surgery, post Whipper relapse is dead case. Okay, so who is Whipper? You know Whipper, this Whipper guy. Whipper is a very extensive surgery, bypass, cut here, cut there. You can see here, you can research Whipper surgery. So Whipper is very dramatic, and also is very, only 20% of pancreatic cancer patients are eligible for the Whipper procedures, and then up to 25% either died during the surgery. Whipper procedure is bad, okay, outcome, septic shock, post-op, bad. Conclusion is that 5 years survival rate after Whipper surgery procedures about 20 to 25%. Okay, so this patient, how do they get to know us is that we have a few patients went back to Melbourne, cured, and then the news spread, and then this patient contacted us and then flew in. This is PET scan on 16th of August 2019. And then you can see the PET scan. We really take PET scan seriously, and also we obtain the photo and pictures because we want to do tumor planning for the patient. This is on the August 16th. And then we repeat the, I can't see here because of the, okay, this is a PET scan. This is a recent one that we repeated in Malaysia. Okay, that's the multiple tumor discovered. And thank God this tumor is quite superficial. And we did low dose radiation immunotherapy, and we do intratumoral injection also through the surface. We did some injection trans-abdominal, cutaneous, you know, and into the tumor, and we manipulate a few tumor to create the abscopal effects. Okay, and this is the lung tumor, and we didn't do much to the lung, but we were waiting for that lung to be the observation for abscopal effect to be developed. Now, I want to remind all of you, when you read the CT scan and also PET scan, really need to understand implants, okay? There is a breast implant, silicone implants here. You know, implants is also one of the cause. And also, which is hilarious, okay? A lot of time when I read the CT scan, PET scan of the head and neck, patient is after two rounds of relapse of chemo, and their mouth is still full of amalgams, and the mouth is still full of all the silver mercury tooth there, and then you know they're wondering why the patient have the head and neck cancer relapse. Okay, so well, looking at risk and also internal toxin, center of toxin, that is important to take a look at it. And this is the, well, this is just to prove to you that this is a real patient. I didn't make it up. And I saw this patient with a chemo pot, okay, and then this patient have really inguinal big tumor, left and right painful, and then relapses, and then the tumor is palpable through the abdomen. And well, we were 50-50, and then the patient flew in, and the cancer marker was, we did a very extensive trending records of all the past report. You can see here the CA199 was 1392120 1000 to 1000. Then it was rising to 4000 before the patient flew in. I think the patient flew in on January before a lockdown. Yeah. So we are very detailed on all the trending, and we recorded the tumor marker, and the latest tumor marker was 14 only. Yep, that is month of May. Ask all the doctors to join our mastermind group in Telegram to receive future updates and announcements. Yeah, yeah, you know, as everyone just joined the Telegram. Okay, I think this is the message from Carl. Okay, Telegram. Okay, Telegram, good. We can talk there, and then easier to talk and also present cases there. Well, this is Amy. So Amy, tumor marker was down to 14, from 4,400 to 14. Well, this is a successful abscopal effect induced and repeated. In June, the patient is still WhatsApp to us and overjoyed because the patient is supposed to be dying. And actually, this patient was seeing some oncologists in the east coast of Gold Coast and also Australia. I think she has seen 3 oncologists saying hopeless things. And she then saw 2 integrative oncologists, also some our brethren, our doctors in Australia, and they say you have to fly out of the country. They have to fly out of the country. So somehow she flew out of the country, and then we met, and we talk, and we help her. So this is the tracking. We have a habit of tracking lymphocyte subset. We send this lymphocyte subset to Griber's lab, and also Sunway and Northeast lab also available. We can look at the subset of the lymphocyte functions of the patient. You can track them, and then you can track the CD4, CD8, NK cell numbers, the total T cell populations, and then the memory B cells, whether you have enough of memory B cells for the patients or not. Well, this patient, as usual, is heavily treated surgery, you know, the surgery, chemo, radiation, not radiation, but chemo. The patient refused chemo, actually. The patient was advised 2 to 3 times to do chemo. Not even once the chemo was given to this patient, I think. Yeah, so she's still chemo naive, and then she flew in, and then we did immunotherapy. And then the treatment protocol we will send to you, okay? So this is a cancer marker tracking, CA 125, 153, 199. We have a habit also to do full cancer marker for everyone. Why? Because we want to understand the total behavior of different tumors, because no 2 tumors are the same. We do it once so that we can understand cancer marker trending. For example, you can have a raised AFP, alpha fetoprotein, PSA, sorry. You can have a raised PSA in female. You can have a raised CA153, CA125, the female cancer marker, raised cancer marker in a prostatic male, okay, prostatic cancer male. So cancer marker, it's being released by the tumor population. So it is good to also understand their behavior, their messages that is sent out by the cancer tumor. Well, when the patient was here, we sent to live care for a tertiary third-party scan. Yes, we documented this tumor. And then in our in-house sonographer also recorded February 15 and February 18, there is abdominal tumor in the liver, in the umbilical area, and also the inguinal area. This is the inguinal area with tumor as well. So, of course, the patient go through a holistic treatment, and we have spiritually addressing a lot of issue for these patients, and we understand the patient's psychological realm as well. We take care of that. This is the timeline of the treatment I want to share with you. Week 1 to 2, week 3 to 4, 5 to 6, week 7. Week 1, we do detox nutritional therapy, immune stimulation injection. GM-CSF, which is sagramostim, by the way, it's a colony stimulating factor. GM means granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factor. This is not the filgrastim, okay? This is not the filgrastim, the GCSF. This is GM-CSF, okay? It is going to be directly stimulating the dendritic cell populations and sensitization of the naive into sensitized DC, okay? This is important for APC antigen presenting cells. We do local hypothermia, oxidative therapy, IV extract, okay, immune checkpoint inhibitor, intratumoral, we even inject the checkpoint inhibitor into the intratumoral realm. Patient went to amalgam exchange, and then week 3 to 4, low dose radiotherapy, 10 sessions, immune stimulation, GM-CSF, local hypothermia, which is the item machine, some of you may know. Local hypothermia is actually, the best machine is called Celsius 42, the local regional hypothermia. You can also do full body hypothermia, fever, hacker machine, that's fine as well. And IV extract, and then Colis vaccine. We started Colis vaccine inducing spontaneous inside-out fever, okay, very low dose. And then week 5 to 6, immune stimulation injection, GM-CSF, oxidative therapy, IV plant extract. We also given the patient HSA MTX. This is actually methotrexate human serum albumin bound MTX HSA. This is an item wonderfully I hand carried from Germany. Okay, all right, but it's a wonderful thing. And then we delivered the RGCC SOT tumor, and then the tumor vaccine as well to the patients after we prepare the patients, and we introduced the TAA, tumor associated antigen, the cancer vaccines. Okay, we presented the tumor solidly and liquidly. Okay, there is a liquid tumor antigen and the solid tumor antigen we introduced to the body after the body is properly stimulated and anti-corruptions. Okay, we put in the checkpoint inhibitor, make sure that the new stimulated immunity is incorruptible. Okay, so then we raise some fever. Then number 4 is we introduce the antigen. Then number 5, we put in the NK cell therapy. We put in the cellular therapy as well. That's number 5. So this is what we call the 5-fold protocol, 5-fold sequences. Number 1, stimulate and preserve and reserve the immunity. Number 2, anti-corruption drip, which is the ICB immunotherapy, such as ipilimumab, nivolumab, pembrolizumab, and the bevacizumab, very low dose. Number 3, induce fever, whatever you want to do. We use, in our case, we do low dose Colis vaccine to induce the, it's called MBF, mixed bacteria fever. Okay, get the patient to have some fever, has some mini cytokine storms, make sure that they are stimulatable. Okay, then number 4, we introduce the tumor vaccine. Tumor vaccine means low dose radiation will convert the tumor into vaccine. Okay, that's solitary tumor antigen presentation. Then we give the embryonic cancer stem cell vaccine from RGCC, manufactured from the patient's blood, isolated, grow, and made from the patient's blood. Number 5 is we call in the helper, which is the NK cell, and then the DC, and then the exosome. These things are wonderful. Okay, that's week 7. So, well, what happened to this is a schedule, or this is a typical abscopal induction schedule that I can share with you, and then tailor-made for your patients or your family member or who yourself. Okay, that's the schedule, abscopal effect induction schedule. This is a schedule that we recorded. We help the patient to do GM-CSF injection, and then staff inject for them and teach them how to do, empower the patient to do it. We use mistletoe thermogenic therapy. This is mistletoe. Helixo is a mistletoe plant extract subcutaneously injection. Sometimes IV. You can do low dose slow drip. And then Helleborus foetidus, Helleborus niger, and Helleborus foetidus is also 100 years old Germany widely used plant extracts, okay? Like in Germany, if you take a stone throw to any clinic, if you walk into any clinic in Germany, okay, if you tell them, oh, I have a tumor, well, the doctor will ask you, do you want chemo? Well, I don't want chemo, then they will give you mistletoe, okay? So mistletoe is the world most studied item after chemotherapy, okay? So then this is the schedule. This is the injection schedule talking about abnormal. Yes, we started the patient also using abnormal. Abnormal is also a fraxi, also mistletoe. It's called fraxini. Okay, the host tree is called fraxini, abnormal fraxini. We also use that for the patients because we know it's a tough cancer and it's a abnormal. This abnormal is a brand. Fraxini is the host tree. Fraxini is also very powerful for very aggressive and extensive tumor. We use GCMAF from Saisemirai, Japan. We also use thymosin alpha-1, it's injections, and then artesunate intramuscularly. Well, artesunate is very powerful and also famous for resistant breaking down. Many multi-resistant cancers, okay, none of it is not sensitive to artesunate. In this world, they are yet to discover one malaria that is resistant to artesunate. Okay, so same with cancer. No cancer in the world still resistant to artesunate. Artesunate is powerful. Artesunate can be done even empowering patients to do it themselves. We can give IV as well and subcutaneous as well. That's fine. Okay. This is a temperature chart that we usually do for patient and also help the patient to do and teach the patient and family to do. Well, Amy she flew in with mom, and then later the dad, and then the brother took turns, and then the whole family came, and it's a whole family event, and the whole family change, and that's how holistic the program is. It should be a journey and also a team forming for patients and as well as doctors. And this is typical thermogenic. We want to restore a typical circadian rhythmic changes of 1 degree Celsius of temperature for patients. You know, everything that has life in this world have rhythm. You know, yeah. And well, if you have like an ECG, you know, well, if the ECG is 2, then that is yeah. If you really check temperature for cancer patients 4 times a day, you will find that they are flat. Their thyroid function is so bad, they are like 36.5, 36.2, and then they seldom have 37. We should be having 4 different seasonal temperature fluctuation across a day. The 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Okay, so across a day. So just by doing this monitoring is wonderful. Okay, then temperature chart. Okay, for Colis vaccine, this is the Colis vaccine temperature chart. We do Colis vaccine 1 unit, 2 unit kind of thing, and then we bring them into 1 hour of fever and then discharge them. So our goal is to let them have 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour of 39 to 41. Well, usually 39.5 is the maximum that we go. It's not about how high they go, it's about how frequent you stimulate them. The Colis vaccine is another chapter, which is another lecture. If I have time, I will go through the outline of the rest of the lecture with you and let you know that what is coming up. And well, this patient have a life goal. Well, we form a habit to help the patient to look far. So the patient want to live until 92 years old, help more children, take more action rather than just think, less worried, more presence, to live fearlessly. Yeah, to live fearlessly, yes. I don't know who gave her the fear, but I believe all these oxymoron, witchcraft, scare tactic, it's all from the medical fraternity. Maybe, oh, if you don't do chemo, you will die, and if you don't let me cut you again, you will die, kind of. You know, this is the wrong area that we as a medical professional should avoid, and we should not go into this kind of area. Well, number 5, she wants to travel and participate in volunteer activity to open preschool with therapy dog. Okay, to open preschool with therapy dog, well, wonderful. To look after kids who do not have parents, okay, that's novel. To celebrate 25-year-old birthday with daughter, okay, that's well, please don't look down on this thing, because it is absolutely wonderful that we have to find connection for patients. because a lot of patients are disconnected somehow to God, to their inner soul, to themselves. They are dissociated with so many things, and so many shit happens, to them. And yeah, there we go. We are trying to say, oh, you can get well, and let me do this for you, let me do that for you. Well, this is the number one thing that we have to get through. Well, this is the best news that I ever received, because on June 26th, June 22nd, the PET scan was done. June 26th, the report is out. This is a PET scan. Excellent response to therapy. Previously demonstrated metastatic deposit in liver and abdomen are not confidently visualized on the current scan. So there is no new hypermetabolic event at all. So this is a complete cure, and we are very sure. And then we continue to stimulate the patients, and to make sure that the innate immune system develop after we introduce the vaccinations will translate successfully into long-term adaptive immune memory. Okay, that's important. So, well, this is the great photo that we have taken, that this is the best time that before our lockdown, okay? And yes, this is our prayer team, okay? We have Mark, we have Greg, we have Victor. These are our, not the warrior, but the prayer warrior. Somehow we empower patients to have inner peace and also pray a lot, and then our team support with them. Well, that's the case. That it's just one case out of many cases that we have done, and I truly feel that I cannot keep quiet anymore, and I hope that I can duplicate all these things to many more doctors, and I wanted to truly make a difference and make sure that the landscape of oncology in Malaysia and around the world in the region is quickly changed rather than a slow change. Okay, so that is our intentions, and we can talk more maybe later during the break. But okay, yes, more slides. Okay, so did cancer catch you by surprise? Well, if you ask any patient, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 patients, they say, yeah, it's a surprise. Why? Because cancer brew. They don't grow, they brew. There's a latent phase of cancer, there's a brewing phase called incubation. Well, for example, if you have a cancer patient saying, oh, I detected a tumor January this year. Nope, the cancer happened 10 years ago. If you ask them, well, connecting to cloud server. Okay, is the connection good, Esther? Good, okay. So latent phase, brewing phase, incubation phase. Yep. Minus 10 years, the tumor grow. Okay, within 10 years. As a matter of fact, if you ask any cancer patient, well, in the past 10 years, what happened to you? Some shit happens. There's some major event happens, and within the last 10 years, something hit them nicely. They lost someone. They went through big problems in the past 10 years. Okay, that is a very important triggering things that we need to really help the patient to stay away from this danger thing and move away from the triggering thing and blah, 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 okay? And, well, it takes the tumor 10 years to grow from 0 to 1 cm, but from 1 cm to grow to 10 cm usually is 10 weeks to 10 months. That's called exponential growth, okay? Why? Because this is comparison growth chart, very simple. As a matter of fact, any cancer more than 0.3 cm, they call it the angiogenic switch. They switch into a life form. Okay, they have their own life, just like a sperm made up with the ovum. They form embryoblastosis. They form morula and blastosis. They have the most powerful growth signal around. Their goal is to grow into an organism to replace you. That's called angiogenic switch, and that switch is 0.3 cm. And to detect a PET scan, tumor, blah, blah, blah. It's well, how do you detect cancer? Well, it's by surprise, okay? Or somehow you unintentionally do some tests or somehow. Well, detectable tumor is 0.5. Some oncologists or some radiologists would confidently tell you, oh, more than 1 cm is detectable in my scan. So how would you stop cancer and find out, okay? It's important. And then we define remission as any cancer patient less than 1 gram of a tumor mass, okay? But from 1 gram to 1 kilo, that's a maximum. If the tumor grow from 1 gram to 1 kilo, 1,000 gram of cancer happened in the patient, then they die. So that's a threshold for clinical detection. But are we able to detect cancer here? Absolutely yes. Okay, I used to think that it is impossible. Well, it is absolutely easy and evidence based to do so. Okay, so that's, well, it takes a lot of insult to the genomic level. Well, what is this? This slide talk about carcinogenesis step. There's an initiation, there is a promotion, there is progress. Well, usually we detect cancer here in the progress, but then the promotion takes 5 years, 10 years. Initiation, hell, long time ago. So look at the normal epithelium, how they become invasive and grow downwards and then invade the basal membrane. There's a loss of APC, hypoplastic epithelium. Okay, the DNA hypomethylation. That means the DNA doesn't protect itself anymore. Activation of KRAS and then loss of this gene protection. Then P53 gene loss is the last one. Now, throughout all these triggering factors, okay, of course, viruses, infection, many triggering things, and then they turn into carcinoma in situ first, okay, and then they go into invasive. Okay, now this is a progress. It takes a long time. So chronic has a cancer has a very chronic establishment and re-establishment. Why would I want to say that? Because they have almost uncontrollable and unlimited opportunity to re-establish themselves. Man, and cancer is a slow disease. Yes, doesn't happen overnight. 10 to 15 years of growing and growing. No two cancers are the same. Macroscopic, microscopic, genetic cancers. Yes, if you compare, let's say 1,000 breast cancer patients, okay, take their biopsy. No two biopsy looks the same. Macroscopic biopsy, microscopic liquid tumor biopsy. Well, it doesn't look the same because the gene is different. It's almost like a fingerprint. Cancer is like a fingerprint to that patient. It's totally unique that brew out of that patient. For example, pest. If you find a pest behind your garden, okay, you find some bad pest in your garden. If you throw it to my garden, it will not survive because of the different ecology. Almost different patients with different ecology body, they'll brew different cancers, okay, and then the cancers is different, okay. So if you ask commonly, did your cancer caught you by surprise? Hell yeah, yeah, that is by surprise. So it is absolutely a failure of their immune system to see the hidden cancers, because the cancer in the body is trophoblastic in nature and embryonic in nature, okay. Only when would a mother have a tumor that looks like tumor, like the pregnancy? You know, if you're pregnant, the baby is a foreign, half foreign. I mean, half a gene is from you, but half is from daddy. But the fact that there is immune evasion in a pregnant mother perfectly explain why is there cancer. Okay, because it is a barrier. Something is inside the baby that is not crossing to the mom. Okay, there's a barrier. It's called like a blood-brain barrier. There's a trophoblastic placenta barrier. That is a fetal antigen and fetal material that is not crossing to the mom. Okay, same in cancer. Okay, the cancer growing. Man, you can ask the patient, hey, hello, why the cancer grow in your body 10 cm? Huh? 5 cm and 10 cm, you have 15 of it. Why your body doesn't know? Why your body doesn't know that there is a cancer happening? Well, because the body is full and convinced into the fact that the body is believing that the cancer is part of them, is self and non-self issues, okay? So the cancer is detected late when visible. Oh, everybody say, oh, how good if I can know it earlier. Oh, how I should have known it earlier. The fact is that even though you are in stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, your body still doesn't know that it is a cancer unless you properly expose them and introduce them to the body. Well, the tumor burdens, okay, we talk about tumor burdens, 1 kilo versus 1 gram. Okay, who is the driver of the disease? Well, the driver of the disease, sadly to say sometimes, is because of the toxic burden that we pour into the patients. Okay, please, we need to really understand how did the patient die? Is it because of really iatrogenic or not? We need to really think 3 to 4 times, okay? How can we expect the immune system to work if we toxify the immune system? Well, cancer patient is already with toxic, I mean, they're immunosuppressed severely, and they are immunodepleted severely, and they're already in malnourishment, over calorie, under nutrient kind of states, okay? So we need to think. And fast and urgent treatment is often very not necessary. Why? Because it's a chronic disease. Why would you force an acute treatment on a chronic disease? Why rush into it before you know properly? Acute treatment on chronic disease, well, it's the biggest oxymoron, okay? Well, okay, we can blame to the tumor, the micro and macroscopically. Well, no, actually cancer happens in stealth mode. Okay, what is really killing cancer patient is not the primary. Well, it's not even a secondary because they grow slowly, but it's the metastasis, you know, the metastasis and the treatment pour into the patient, causing more immunosuppression, the worsening of the whole immune system, devastating the patients. You took away the last chance of the patient to overcome the cancer. Even the last small little immunity also you take it away. That's a bad thing that we do, okay? Now, understand this slide here talking about how a solid tumor can detach themselves away and follow the blood and lymphatic to go to the distant metastasis. Now look, not all the cells are capable of doing this. In a tumor, if you really do a biopsy, solid biopsy, after you detect them, right? There's so many cells inside there. There's good cells, 80% is good cells, 20% is bad cells. Even all the bad cells there, they are locally aggressive. They cannot detach themselves away. Hello, do you know epithelial cell means rough? Okay, epithelial cell, can you imagine the cell that you find in your blood? They're extremely smooth, you know, they're extremely smooth. You cannot, because the platelet will come and clump you if you are very, very rough. Well, how did the epithelial cell become so smooth and transfer themselves and hide and migrate into the blood? They call it the EMT, from epithelial going into mesenchymal kind of a transition from rough, like your nail. Okay, like your nail. Oh, they turn themselves away and become a smooth muscles, and then they become a blood. Like your nails is changing into a blood cell, like red blood cells. Okay, and then they circulate in the blood, kind of thing. That's called EMT. Okay, that's metastasis, and this thing happened very early, like 5 years, 10 years ago. And then they hide in blood and then lymphatic, and then they are the one that looking for ways to come out, like sprout out. Okay, like you had the seeds. If I pour a bag of seeds in your house, you think all seeds would sprout into crops? Yeah, right. Some of the seed, if they fall into the fertile right ground, okay, fertile right soil, then they will sprout into a crop. Same thing with this circulating embryonic cancer stem cell. Okay, these cells, they hide in the blood. They will cause a problem in the future. And as a matter of fact, the next 10 relapses is planned 5 to 10 years ago. Okay, for the patients. Okay, so that is how extensive it is. So if you search online, you will be able to see basal cell, and then the cell change, and then they transit, and then they transform themselves, they grow, and then they metastasize. This is EMT, and then in the blood there, they are hiding. When the blood smooth embryonic cancer stem cell, they start to extravasate into the other fields area. They call it the MET. As a matter of fact, the word metastasis comes from this word called MET, mesenchymal epithelial transaction. From smooth, suddenly they, like my red blood cell growing into a nail. Okay, that's epithelial. Yep, that is exactly what these cancer stem cells do. They transform themselves. They differentiate themselves into new cells. Well, from the original site, they de-differentiate themselves. The nail become red blood cells, and then they differentiate again, become cancers. Okay, that's a fact, and it's not new. That's like discovered like 10, 15, 20 years ago, even 30 years ago, discovered these things. So, well, if you talk about cancer cells, you can compare them. Look at the left side and the right side. The left side is cancer cells. If you compare the chromosome, there's 200 to 500 chromosomes in there. And on the right side, you see normal cells with 23 pairs of chromosome. On the left side is primitive, 95 times survival growth. Well, cancer cells spend 95 times talking about divide or they die. Okay, 5% thinking of living. Okay, this word is wrong. I mean, 5% thinking of living. 95 of the time they want to divide. Normal cell is 5% multiply. they live a normal life, a 95% functioning, try to be useful for the host, okay? If you compare the feeding system of a cancer cell and a normal cell, it's totally different. Why? Because this glycolysis is the aerobic, it's like you give them oxygen, they don't breathe oxygen. Okay, give them oxygen, they don't want to breathe oxygen, okay? They are obligated anaerobic. They just ferment, okay? They just ferment and they give you 2 ATP. You give them sugar, they give you 2 ATP and then give you 40 lactic acid, okay? Well, why would the cancer cell behave like this? Because of they are primitive, immortal, then they are embryonic. They are embryonic in nature. And then the cytoplasm, they use cytoplasm to breathe. They don't use mitochondria, okay? So that is the reason why they are different cells. And then they are able to live in an oxidative environment. For example, like the fish, there's a big monster fish. And that fish is walking in on the land. This obliged underwater living creature is walking on the streets. Yep, that is exactly what cancer cells are about. They are able to have anaerobic breathing in an oxidative environment. So we can induce them back into here or somehow prevent these cells from going to the left primitive again. So we can go through that. Now, why is cancer cell trophoblastic? Well, people have done a lot of research talking about finding the resemblance of tumor establishment with the left side. The left side here is actually showing placenta unit. You know, the syncytial trophoblast, the cytotrophoblast, you know, the trophoblastic appearances of cancer is of the placenta exactly resemble, and even the detailed study of all the growth factors. Okay. And if you study the stemness, okay, the stemness means they can, just now I said about 0.3 cm, there is an angiogenic switch. The cancer cell can turn into an organism to overtake you, right? How would you know? How would you know that you can check the surface marker by flow cytometry? Okay, you can understand these kind of cancer cells, whether they are embryonic or not. Okay, now I went into a lot of stem cell study. Even when you do a stem cell study, you would want to study cells, and then stem cells. Stem cell means mesenchymal stem cell, and then before the mesenchymal stem cell is the embryonic cancer stem cell. Well, when I go to many universities studying mesenchymal stem cell, well, they're talking about CD73, CD90, CD105. Okay, these are the markers. CD means cluster of differentiation. That means they're somehow differentiated. Well, if you want to study embryonic cells, you need to study iPSC. It's what we call induced pluripotent stem cell. Well, pluripotent stem cell is, the surface marker is totally different. It's called nanoxmol and SOX2. Well, embryonic cells will never be present in human, okay? Okay, let me ask you this question. If you're, in adult body now, can you identify any cells that is embryonic in a human? Nope. Why? The only time when you can detect embryonic cells in a human is a pregnant woman during the first 22 days, 28 days, the morula and blastocyst formation of the egg met with the egg met already with the sperm. Okay, they form an embryo. Okay, at that time, if you really take the cells and really test them, it is nanoxmol. Okay, it is that kind of cells that is circulating in our blood now that can be isolated. Okay, this nanoxmol. These are the iPSC-like embryonic stem cell-like cell that is helping the cancer to establish the next relapses in the next 10 years for the patient. Okay, these are the cells that is identifiable and isolatable, and we can develop vaccines out of it and treat the patient with. Okay, now let's look at the ESC, embryonic cancer stem cell. What do? Same thing. They do glycolysis. Okay, they have uncoupling mitochondria. As a matter of fact, they don't have mitochondria. They don't need mitochondria. Okay, and then they use glutamate and fatty acid as the substrates. Okay, they can use this glutamine. They can use this fatty acid also. They are multipotent. They can use many things. Okay, these are the kind of cells that is self-renewal. They are immortal. They don't die. Man, it's very difficult to let them die. So how can we cure this thing if this thing is hiding in the blood and the lymphatic of the patients? Well, we have to really think about immunotherapy and exposing these tumor antigens, so-called. You catch them, you develop, you catch them, you grow them, okay? You crush them and make a vaccine out of it, and then you introduce it to the immunostimulated patients, okay? Immunosuppressed, removed patients, okay? And favorable patients, okay? You introduce it to them, and then teach the patient's body to see the cancer properly, to see the embryonic cancer cell, like that. Okay, when you have a tumor, you do a biopsy, you will see good cells. Okay, you will see corrupted good cells helping the bad cells, right? And then you will see bad cells. Okay, these bad cells called cancer cells. These cancer cells, if they die, the fragment leave into the body. It's called tumor fragment circulating. It's called CCC, circulating cancer cell. Okay, these are the soldier, the weaker ones. Okay, and the father of all these CCC is what we call CTC. Okay, circulating tumor cell. These are the stronger general. Okay, the general and the soldier, well, they're circulating in the blood and then they have more power, okay. I'm not talking about these two cells. I'm talking about embryonic cancer stem cell, the Agong, the emperor, the big Hitler of controlling the cell. These are the cell that is higher level, that is most ultimate stemness, the pluripotency they can form. These are the embryonic cancer stem cells circulating in the blood. Okay, the marker is very unique. You almost cannot use other method to isolate these kind of cells, except using flow cytometer. We will have a chapter talking about flow cytometer. How is it? What is it? Well, flow cytometer in every university. There is one flow cytometer in whole Malaysia. Okay, and then there is about 3 to 4 flow cytometer, one cytometer per cellular therapy unit, cell therapy research unit in university. We send the patient's blood to Greece RGCC lab. They have 27 flow cytometer. One lab that is 55,000 square feet with 27 flow cytometer inside there. You know, so they can isolate these kind of cells and then they make vaccine out of it. Yeah, this is the picture how a cancer stem cell looks like. This embryonic cancer stem cell looks like under the microscope, and then you don't see mitochondria, and this is how the face, this is how the images look like if you culture and expand them. So the metastasis mechanism is that they left the tumor early, they circulate the blood, and then they are the one that cause the future relapses. And then when we want to deal with the patients, we often not try to kill the cancer cell first, because when you start this, you kill the patient. We should be clearing the patient first, building the immunity immediately. The Trinity realm of managing patients is, well, take care of their immunity first. Second, make sure the body can survive. There's enough of in and out, enough of nourishment into the body, and enough of excretion. Focus a lot on detoxification, removing toxin out of the patients and creating a healing zone out of the patient. Then deal with the cancer last. Okay, when you deal with the cancer solidly and liquidly. I mean, if there's such word, sorry about my English, but you can deal with the tumor, solid tumor burden management, and then liquid tumor management is important. So, well, this is the EMT we talk about, the epidermal mesenchymal transitions. Okay, that's very early. And then the surface marker for cancer stem cell, embryonic cancer stem cell is CD133, CD44, nano-oxford and SOX2. Okay, this nano-oxford SOX2 is very famous for every university or any stem cell specialist who do research, who deal with the iPSC, induced pluripotent stem cell. They know this, and then they will question you. You mean you can detect cancer stem cell, embryonic cancer stem cell in the blood this way? Well, the cancer stem cell theory is as such that the primary tumor is able to, this is the primary tumor. If you kill the tumor weaker cells, the regrowth will happen because you left the cancer stem cell. They stay quiescent, is tumorogenic, and then they are able to form a new tumor again. So how would you know that the cell is truly embryonic cancer stem cell? Is that they are tumorogenic, okay? They are metastatic, they are able to metastasize, and they are able to form new tumor, tumorogenic, metastatic capacity, and tumorogenic capacity. So Multi-lineage and common embryonic origin. This is a photo of a diagram of PET scan of various patients. If you do a tumor biopsy on various different sites of the cancer patients, you will detect different cells. Well, how would you know they have a common origin? If you run the common origin of the cells gene, you are able to detect the gene. Oh, the photo is not showing up, but then the gene, you can find a common embryonic cancer stem cell gene together. Okay, so this is the photo talking about the cancer stem cell hiding in the lymphatic and the blood. Okay, that's causing the future problems. So if the tumor is more than 0.3 cm, it will switch into a life form. And then this is the, on the right side is macro investigation and micro investigation. There's an invisible tumor and then the visible tumor. So the visible tumor here is that, for example, if the left breast have a tumor, oh, they call it the tumor 1. Okay, and then we'll do solid biopsy, and then we do tumor staging, TNN normal staging. Okay, and then they cut the left breast, and then sometimes the lymph node dissection, which is also very destructive. So tumor number 1 cut away, and if the right side or contralateral breast have another tumor or the local tumor come back again, then they say this is local tumor, tumor number 2. No, the tumor number 2 actually is in the blood there. It's called the embryonic cancer stem cell hiding in the total fluid compartment. If you're 80 kilo guy, 60% is water, 33% is extracellular ECM, 66 is intracellular. Out of the 33, there is a twin. 80 kilo guy, 20 liter is interstitial fluid. There's 6.4 liter of blood circulating there. This is the place where the embryonic cancer stem cell they live, which is hiding minus 10 to 15 years ago. That's the liquid staging. Well, to be honest, in the hospital trick is that they'll tell you this is a stage very early, let me cut you, and then, well, let me do management for you. Well, to me, it is rightful to say everybody is stage 4. Why? Because if you do a liquid staging, it is already stage 4 minus 10 to 15 years ago. Well, this is the area where a lot of people are ignoring, and they are not able to accept it. They are not willing to understand the invisible tumor realm, which is the hiding one, which is the embryonic cancer stem cell that is in this 10% genetic and 90% epigenetic. It is the 10% that is killing and controlling the future relapses, and coupled with all the 90% unchanged epigenetic risk. So if you, after surgery, radiation, chemo, and blah, 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 there's a local recurrence. It's called a T number 3. Tumor number 3 is never a tumor number 2. And then the hiding cancer stem cell is the one that causing the local recurrence, lymph node, liver, lung, bone, brain, da, da, da. So what is the truth? People want to cut away and remove everything, and then they tell you this is compartmental thinking. Well, this is also not a good thinking. The second thing is, oh, after I cut you, why don't we do chemo radiation? So it's confinemental thinking also is wrong. This is to try to confine the tumor. Well, it's already spread. It's already in here. Okay, and then there's a remission and relapses, and well, it's almost not planned. The remission and relapses is not guaranteed. Is not even talked about in the management of the tumor. Okay, then the embryonic stem cell here, if you send the blood, and then we can identify these cells, and then we can derive 31 pages, and then they can expand it into, they can grow these cells, and then they make into a creature, and then they can run tests, and then they can make vaccine, and then they can make a genetic silencer, gene silencer called the SOT, and then tumor vaccine, and be delivered. So the embryonic cancer stem cell hiding here, they are the one that can induce the cell to form cancer stem cell, and then the stem can induce the cancer stem cell to grow into matured tumor cells, and then recruitment of all the rest of the corrupted cells. So what's the limitation is a surgery, chemo, radiation. Now, so what happened? Now, the whole idea is the whole world is following this surgery, radiation, chemo. Okay, we repeat surgery, chemo, surgery, chemo, radio. We almost have to create the palliation. We always create palliation first. Okay, then we throw at the end. Okay, you have no option. Then go and try your immunotherapy, which is really bad. We should be the other way around. We should be immunotherapy first, then low dose radiation. Then almost there, we don't even need any chemo. If yes, then maybe low dose. That's all. Surgery maybe not even needed. Okay, so that's the idea. High failure rate due to high risk of metastasis, because if you have metastasis, the survival rate is 2%. Relapses could be up to 100%. Okay, there's a lot of dead end there. And then cancer is a chronic occult disease, but not a death sentence. But what happened is that there's a lot of fear, a lot of lies, and then scare tactic to scared to death. Patient is scared to death. Well, I don't want to just put oncologists here. It could be any one of us. Okay, if any one of us doesn't know what tumor and how to manage the tumor long term, then we could be just selling the product and say, oh, we have this water, we have these pills, and we have that, we have this IV. Oh, you just come here, you get well. Well, it could be referring to us also. The first diagnosis, the second diagnosis, and then the patient go to many different areas without a good plan. And then the first doctor say you have 12 months to live. Okay, please subscribe to my service. And then the second doctor gives a second opinion. They say, oh, 8 months to live, and do it with me. And then the third one, you say, oh, you should not shopping anymore now because you're gonna die soon, and this that. And this is the biggest sorcery that I have seen, witchcraft. I hope we don't practice that. So what is a recurrence surgery? Recurrence, it's very high. Recurrence very high. These are all the problems with relapses. Relapses remains the biggest killer. Okay. Well, let's talk about conventional surgery. The surgery that is very important, whether the surgery is going to cause tolerogenic cell death or immunogenic cell death. Because when you do the surgery, you cut the whole thing away, you throw away. Nobody learned anything. Immune system can't see, not stimulated, and then the antigen is not exposed. And well, the body doesn't know what happened, and then it's not learned. The body doesn't learn anything. And if the cancer cell die too fast, necrosis can cause a lot of tolerogenic cell death. It's because of the growth factor storm. After intensive surgery, after a very high chemo and high destruction, there's a lot of cells dying, a lot of the wrong signal. It's, in COVID-19, people say, oh, people die of a cytokine storm. You know what? Urgent big surgery or chemo high dose, they induce so much inflammation and also repair signal. It is actually a growth factor, mega growth factor storm. Okay, so in immunogenic cell, that is the one that we really want. Okay, intra-operation tumor vaccine to induce the heat shock protein, for example, using intra-operational cautery burn, try to open and bleed the tumor, try to cut the tumor like an onion, layer by layer, non-radical as much as possible, not as much as possible, decrease tumor burden, increase tumor antigen presentation, surgery. Try to do a surgery that is going to be developing a tumor rejecting immunity rather than tumor welcoming immunity. Well, trying to do immunogenicity in surgery, trying to do immunostimulation in surgery so that we can cure the patient once and for all. The best thing is that you cut the tumor out, well, try to make a vaccine out of that tumor and introduce back to the patient. Is that possible? Hell yeah. Well, if you cut the tumor out, smash it into some juice, put it into the syringe and inject back to the patient, why not? This could be good immune stimulations. So, well, as a matter of fact, after the immediate management of surgery, chemo, and adjuvant therapy, the risk is increasing, mega increasing in the first 2 years. The risk is increasing rather than decreasing. The relapses speed is rising rather than decreasing. Doctor, this is wonderful. This is an oxymoron thing. Look at the local recurrence, different site, same site, contralateral breast cancer. Look at that. The patient began here. We're talking about half of the risk here, which is less than 0.02. It is about 120 months later. Oh my God, it's dropping to half. The relapses dropping to half is 10 years later, 12 months. Yeah, 12 months, 120 months is 10 years later. Yeah, can you imagine the first 3 years, the risk is increasing. What happened? What happened during these first 3? If you do nothing, well, the relapses rate is very high. And then chemo. Okay, this is how many people survive chemo that long to enjoy the drop of relapses less than 50%. This is 9.5 years. The drop of relapses more than 70% is at the number 6.8 or 6.9 years later. Well, have you seen cancer patients surviving so long? So let's talk about the first 2 years. If you look at these first 2 years, it's more than 90%, 90, 91, 92% still. Very high risk of relapses. So relapses is still the biggest problem. Okay, the current failure, cruelty, denial, acceptance, chemo, insult, been to hell and back. Yeah, what does that mean? This is a slide talking about the patients also having the wrong attitude. Well, going to the hospital, okay, what is famous in hospital? Antibiotics. That's going to stop all the immune response. Steroids, okay, if you can't If you can't solve the problem, just steroid them. Dexamethasone, suppress the fever, okay? And then they're very famous to give you a bag. What does that mean? If you have cancer, go to hospital, they can't wait to give you a colonostomy bag. And if there's a relapse, they will give you a cysto bag, a cystosomy bag, a bladder bag. They'll let you pass motion through a bag. They will never hesitate to give you another bag for your urine. They will never hesitate to give you another gallbladder bag. Okay, percutaneous drainage of a gall juice. Oh, come on. And number 5 is tubes. Okay, they put tubes in every holes, just like me in ICU before. We put tubes in every patient's holes that we can see. And then we can claim insurance, right? Why not? Number 5. Okay, on the right side is the patient's attitude. Take my name card, I'm so-and-so. Okay, I charge to my credit card, take my insurance card, take my company card, and cut me up. Okay, solve my problem. So put it to my card, please. So this is the acceptance. Okay, the acceptance. The patient acceptance. So this is also the area, and we need to understand the cancer. They are very smart. They have chemo pumps. Okay, they are embryonic. They can breathe without oxygen. They can suck all your energy. They can suck your sugar. They'll give you tons of lactic acid. They acidify you, and they can maintain intracellular redosis. They have a capacity to maintain intracellular alkalinization. This is how embryonic cancer stem cells are strong, and then they can control a lot of cancer cells to do that. They have chemo pumps, okay? And then if you do high dose chemo, and typically without fasting, you kill 100 to 200 normal cells rather than, and then the 1 to 2 cancer cells die. Okay, so it's important to also do chemotherapy with fasting, okay? Introduce some insulin because cancer cells, they have 20 times more insulin receptor. If you give them very low dose insulin, maybe 4 to 5 units in every drip that you want to do, it's called a IPT, is a IPT light, LITE, light version. Put 4 to 5 units into any drips and you don't need to monitor much. Okay, then don't tell people that you give the insulin, then you run into trouble. But well, insulin will open up the cancer cells. Fasting will open up the cancer cells, and then you give IgC complex. What is IgC complex? It's called insulin glucose chemo complex. Okay, you can give them a little bit there and there if you can work with an oncologist, and then give them. Even you can do IgC, means a plant extract. You can even do this kind of a fasting, give some insulin, and then give them glucose mixed with that your plant extract, and also introduce fever to them. That's fine. That's good also. This is chemo on the left and chemo on the right. The same chemo, okay? If you do it in a fasting state with insulin and also with properly prepared a patient, you end up killing 95% of cancer cells, and then fasting will strengthen the normal cells and convert the normal cells into a lock mode. It will lock the normal cells into a lock mode, okay? So this is important. So a lot of fear in our community are trying to cure cancer patients, but just take just find a stone and throw. Okay, you will throw into anyone that have cancer now. It's just that common. Now we're talking about 50% chance of developing cancer in our whole life. Okay, so the faith is to be developed. Okay, we should develop the faith of immunity taking over permanently. Okay, just like overcoming the cancer, like a flu, like a chicken pox. If you get a chicken pox at the age 5 years old, you get chicken pox, you will be sure 195 years or even 95 years old or 100 years old later, you will not get the chicken pox twice. Okay, if you can help to convert the occult cancer like a flu, well, permanent healing is there, and the body will recognize the cancer antigen and form a permanent rejection of the cancer. So have you ever wondered this miracle of immunity that is working permanently for patients? It is all because of the innate and non-specific T-cell mediated robust initial stage. When our bodies start to recognize cancer, they will initially form a very robust T-cell mediated non-specific innate ability. So you read this sentence from back towards the front, you will understand. And that's not just quite, that's going to be tumor regressions. Like our patient Amy, the tumor is regressed. But what I'm so excited about is there is a continuous translation of this innate T-cell robust immunity translation into a long-term specific memory adaptive B-cell responses. That is very powerful. We want this kind of a crosstalk. We want this kind of a long-term immunity development. So the true danger of overdose chemotherapy. Oh, this is something that I really want to tell you. The irreversible side effect of chemo: too much, too long, too high dose of chemo. Number one, thymolysis. You almost wipe out the whole thymus. Okay, that's bad. Thymus means T. All the T cell comes from thymus, the maturation thymus. Okay, and thymus grow is still there. Okay, there's a remnant of thymus. Then bone marrow fibrosis is bad. Number three is chemo brain, the neuro desynchronization. It includes the desynchronization of the gut-brain barrier, the brain-gut barrier. This is so many of us trying to repair the gut and repair the gut. So, man, stop that high-dose chemo first. Okay, no joke. The whole tumor, the whole gut is like it's like your skin. It's just an epithelial inside. It's like a skin. Okay, so this is the big problem of the chemo. So cancer treatment duration. How would you want to solve a problem which built up over a long period of time? Well, some people say, solve my cancer problem 35 hours. That's called surgery. As a shortcut, cut me through the high relapse and high damage to the body. Okay, some people say, oh, can you solve my cancer in 35 weeks? That's chemo. That's easy way out. That's high relapse and high damage to body as well. Well, we're talking about a method that is 35 months. Why? Because the progress for Amy back to Australia now, the patient, it is still ongoing. Okay, it's a radical change. It's an integrative therapy. The relapse is very low, almost none, and then it's very minimal damage to the body. This is exactly the things that we need to recruit the patient to believe and the family to be recruited and to do it. Who is Emily Whitehead? Emily Whitehead, you can research. This lady went through very bad, harsh treatment, okay? And is a leukemia lady, 6 years old lady. You can see this is a girl, young girl, 1 year after cancer-free, 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6 years. Now it's 7, 8 years already cancer-free. The scientist has found out that she went through 2 times of a bone marrow transplant event. Okay, it's a fail. So the doctor said, go home and die. You know, GHAD program, the go home and die program, the GHAD, very famous go home and die program. So then she signed up for a CAR T immunotherapy kind of. This is a cancer vaccinations, okay? But this is an ex vivo extra body outside the body. Take your blood out. Okay, take your blood out, go to the lab, okay, identify the T cell, train the T cell, okay, take the tumor from the patient, introduce them to the lab, to the T cell, grow the T cell, and then introduce the T cell back into the human body, let the army to kill all the cancer cells rampantly everywhere. But the problem with this is extraction, reprogramming, multiplication, preparation, but before you introduce the patient, you need a high-dose chemo. This is the last chemo that you want to do immunodepletions. The whole purpose of this chemotherapy is not a full chemo. This is later I found out from the Peter Mac and a lot of research. This is what we call lymphodepletion, the fludarabine, cytarabine, 5 days to 7 days protocol, flu-cy, they call it the flu-cy protocol. Fludarabine and cytarabine is selectively depleting all the T cells. That means the T cells are corrupted. The corruption of patients' T cells immunity is a big chapter. There is a lot of immunocorruption in the human with cancer. That's the reason why the human fail to see cancer. So it's important for this lymphodepletion being a big portion, be preparing the patients. I believe if Emily Whitehead did not go through this lymphodepletion, the CAR T cell would not have been worked very nicely. But the CAR T went in, of course, this conventional CAR T, there's, by the way, much better CAR T cells nowadays without the big cytokine storms, okay? So this kind of technology is a cancer vaccination. It's like age old, 100 years old, more than that, okay? And it is converting cancer cure rate to 90%. Okay, it's conventionally ALL in adults. No, the cure rate is 3 to 4%, 5%, less than 10%. Okay, now it's a 90% cure rate, complete response. So in second year remission into third year party, well, the parents of Emily Whitehead say, thank God I did not listen to the doctor to give up. Okay, the Emily Whitehead family was in the big gathering, and all the researcher and all because the whole town gets so famous, and And the second comment the parents say is that if there is a cure, why is there 7 harsh treatment needed for my daughter? Well, if you have a daughter, or if you have a kid, or if you have a family member with the tumor, do you think going through 7 harsh treatment is fair to them? Number 3, the parents say, is it a lucky cure or not? He was asking in front of all the doctors and the researchers and people who are involved in the CAR-T. Yeah, the parents asked that question, is it a lucky cure? Well, if it's lucky cure, if it's not a lucky cure, please work on it. Why maintain cancer and not curing the cancer? If you can cure the cancer, why you want to maintain it? Well, the scholar and medical team, are you really healing the patient, or just merely thinking killing the tumor and losing most of the battles? So these are the 4 questions posed to the whole medical fraternity that time, when this so-called Emily Whitehead, the patient number 1, okay, this is patient 1, very famous immunotherapy patient 1. If you go to online and search this society called RC, Cancer Research Institute, CRI, yes, Cancer Research Institute, CRI, Facebook is very powerful, YouTube, okay, so subscribe to them and understand immunotherapy from there. It's wonderful, okay, so this is during Emily Whitehead's 2nd year remission into the 3rd year. Then from there, this patient revolutionized the whole industry, okay? So this is, even Obama is there, and then there's a lot of protocol and also allowance and all these things are launched. This is a life. Honestly, I was so very, very inspired by this, and I vow that I want to repeat these kind of things and bring this to the world. Then, yes, this is a slide talking about low-dose radiation therapy, very wonderfully converting tumor into vaccine, and I can send this to you. So our patient Amy went through low-dose radiation therapy. What is low-dose radiation therapy? When you expose a tumor to low-dose radiation therapy, it's a non-ablative thinking. Okay, it's very difficult to get an oncologist to get the ablation out of their mind. You know, they need to kill, you know, they need to, oh, let me kill this guy. No, you cannot kill the tumor. What? The tumor is comprising of 80% good cells and 20% bad cells. You need that good tumor-associated macrophages and intratumoral dendritic cell to pick up the debris and do an APC, antigen presenting. So when you do low-dose radiation, the non-ablative doses, typically which is a 1.5, 1.2 gray, 1.5 gray GY, they call it the GY, 1.2, 1.5, 1.8, 2.0, less than that, okay? And then you repeat it. A total dosage is about 15 gray, 20 gray, 25 gray, 30 gray per lesions, okay? And then maximum is, if you do more than 50 gray to an area, you can't go back anymore. So whether you do 15 gray 3 times, you know, every 3 months do 15 gray to that area and slowly convert the tumor and present the tumor while the tumor is in the patient's body. Okay, that's what we call low-dose radiation, converting the tumor into vaccine, called abscopal effect. Okay, if you radiate, for example, if you have 15 tumor in your body, select 2 to 3. Okay, low-dose radiated them. So what happens is that the tumor will release the fragment. The fragment of the tumor antigen dies off, and then they release, and then picked up by the dendritic cell, and then they go to the lymph node, and then the lymph node is the largest APC going to trigger the whole body. So, well, if you have a cancer patient after some treatment, the lymph node gets swells up, don't get panicked, don't cut it away, don't throw it away. As a matter of fact, I'm against this bilateral breast mastectomy, the Angelina Jolie thing, and then ALND. You do axillary lymph node dissection. That's bad. Lymph node is an important APC, antigen presenting center. So can you imagine this lymph node here? Well, sometimes if you do low dose radiation to lymph node, it's also good. Okay, it will even strengthen and mount an immune response. But sadly to say, this big portion here, superbly cut off by the chemotherapy. Okay, well, you don't have to agree with me, but I hope you can agree to the disagreement. Okay, what is abscopal effect? I can send this to you. There are so many abscopal effect studies that I went through. Probably our team has went through maybe 200 to 300 different studies already about the abscopal effect using low dose radiation. Low dose radiation have 5R, typical 5R: repair of normal cell, redistribution of cell cycle, making the tumor reset their cell cycles, and then reoxygenate the tumor, which is really wonderful, which we really want to make the deoxygenated anaerobic cancer tumor into an oxygen-dependent oxidative tumor, okay? And then repopulate the immune cells inside the tumor. Can you imagine this low-dose radiation can repopulate and attract more immune cells, the non-corrupted one, okay? Oh, they come in, okay, this is a bad guy. Let me eat this guy and chew and taste it. The macrophage and the DC and all the NK cell, they go into the tumor, they kill and eat and chew. They taste it, and then they present this to your immune system. They inform your bone marrow, your T cells, your B cells. Wonderful. And then radio sensitivity. Yes, when you do low dose radiation to tumor, what happens? You will induce immunogenic cell death, a radio sensitivity of various tumor. Yeah, well, there is a clinical study also talking about various cells present in the tumors, okay? And then they are sensitive only, T cells, intratumoral T cells is extremely sensitive to high dose. As a matter of fact, 2.5, 3, 4, 5 gray, it's very sensitive. You would have killed the good cells. Okay, when you do low dose radiation, trust me, there's this study that I can send to you, talking about most of the cancer cells are killable. You are able to kill those tumor cells inside the tumor by low dose radiations. So this is the wonderful, exciting time that we can network with a lot of radiation oncologists and even with their oncological team. We work very closely with Beacon now, and also SCMC, Dr. Jayendran, and also Martin Mello. We are very honored that we are working with them, and we integrate with them, and we have results, and then we looking forward for a multi-center trial kind of thing, okay? Now, what is Embryoscopic effect? In the layman term means 10 tumors in your body. If you select 2 and then you do low dose radiation and you do low dose, manipulation, you will see reduction in their sizes. And then the immune system will improve when you take care of the whole body. And then the lymph node will be involved. And then the immunity is trained. And then the whole immunity will reject the tumor in the other area. You will see other areas shrinking too. So that's Embryoscopic effect. This is the details talk about the Embryoscopic mechanism of Embryoscopic and the cells and the receptor involved. This is a clinical study that I can send to you. Okay, in short, is that when you radiate to the primary or select one tumor, you do radiotherapy, irradiated metastasis, and then the cells, there is this low dose radiation can cause the DAMs and the PAMs. What is that? Damage associated molecular pattern. This is what we call pattern recognition receptor. Okay, DAM is damage associated molecular pattern, means danger signal. Okay, danger signal. Well, the whole body say, "Oh, this is dangerous, man. We need to come here and repair and really kill and clean do some jobs." Okay, and there's another thing called PAMS. PAMPS means pathogen associated molecular pattern. This is typically the Coley's vaccine. Well, Dr. William Bradley Coley is the father of immunotherapy. He discovered immunotherapy 100 years ago. Okay, and he said this thing. He said the best way to cure a tumor is to infect it. If you do infection erysipelas, what he means is by erysipelas, the pus-forming erysipelas, if you infect the tumor, there will be PAMS. The PAMS is actually going to reduce the tumor, and it's called stranger signal. So if you have intratumoral stranger signal and danger signal together, the dendritic cell will come and then it will recruit, and then you can trigger the whole cascade of immune system. Just convert occult cancer tumor stage 4 palliative stage. Whole case, you can convert them into chickenpox virus infection. You will never get the same flu twice. Okay, for example, COVID-19. Okay, if you get COVID-19 now, you die. No, 8% don't die, 2% die because the immune very bad. The 8% don't die, what happened? They go through some shit here, cytokine storm, this, that, ICU. Okay, the 8% when they don't die, you know what happened? They will never get COVID-19 again. Okay, because you will get the same flu only once. Well, if you get the COVID-19 and then you go into hospital, they suppress all your immunity. They give you antibiotic. They give you high dose steroids. They will stop all your immunity. Of course, you get a second time of the chickenpox or whatever it is, right? So we want to understand there is a APC, antigen presenting. Okay, lymph node is very useful. Okay, don't stop the patient from having an immune response. Okay, the systemic anti-tumor attack is the one very precious thing that we miss out. We completely miss out. We just, okay, well, let's start this drip, let's start this, that, okay, let's do this and let's do that. But we have to understand what are we trying to establish is what we call permanent, lifelong, anti-cancer rejection, cancer rejection immunity, lifelong. Yes, this is the thing that we want. Okay, let the immune system recognize it and do a blacklisting. We call it a blacklisting of this tumor the whole life. See, this systemic anti-tumor attack is wonderful. It's going to cure the distant metastasis, the lung, and the rest. And of course, you do immune checkpoint blockade. Why? You inject IV low dose. The one that we use is called ipilimumab, nivolumab, pembrolizumab, and bevacizumab low dose. Why? When we do these things, you will cure the patient whole body immunosuppressions. Okay. As a matter of fact, ipilimumab, wonderful. Ipilimumab is actually a T-reg killer. The regulatory T cells, the bad T regulatory cells killer. Okay. And you can even give low dose oral cyclophosphamide, maybe 100 milligrams, 50 to 100 milligrams Tuesday and Friday, twice a week for 2 weeks. If you do twice a week for 2 weeks, right, T-reg is gone. T-rex is gone. You can do 2 weeks to 3 weeks low dose, that's fine. Okay, so conclusion is that the risk of metastasis and recurrence is triple, double the first 2 to 3 years. This is, well, everyone, if you're blur and you learn nothing today, okay, just remember this. This is the summary, and then the take-home message, blah blah blah. Okay, it's here. So the risk of metastasis and recurrence is triple, double in the first 2 to 3 years. Okay. Now, hyperinflammation, wound healing, growth factor storms. Well, this is inducible by heavy surgery. Okay. Often you will find after surgery more cancer grow out, or heavy chemo. After you do heavy chemo, okay, the first less than 1 year, less than 6 months, oh, they have good life. No, they don't have good life. They wear a hat, they don't have hair, they're in lousy mode. Okay, they enjoy life for, they suffer life for six months. Okay, after 6 months, there is a rampant regrowth again, relapses. Very common, you can see. And then there's signal confusions. Why? Because when you try to cure a cancer patient, they are still in the repairing the wrong cancer. You know, there's acute healing or non-healing ulcers. What does that mean? We need to get rid of the wrong signaling in the human patient first, the patient body, the human body. Okay, metastasis, micro before the macro. Yes, we always deal with the visible, but we forgot the micro. So the micro happens years ago. Okay, so the art of cancer healing is the prevention of relapses and get rid of the recurrences. And then the cure is guaranteed when there is no relapse. Okay, and then you can heal the patient once and for all. Okay, and LDLT is what we call low dose radiation therapy. Well, often I argue with some of the radiation oncologists, but then palliative dosage is what we want actually, because palliative dosage, as a matter of fact, abscopal effect is wonderfully discovered by palliative radiation oncologists in the palliative ward. Okay, many palliation, for example, melanoma. How many of you have melanoma patients? Okay, have you seen melanoma patients? You know, they die very badly. Okay, they eventually have multiple tumors all over the body. And some of the cancer patients, last stage of the melanoma, they have painful tumor in the arms and legs, and then they go for low dose radiation. You know, they try 5-10 times different treatment, and then they are given death sentence. They are going home, GHAD, you know, they go home and die thing. So they went to this low dose radiation just for pain relief. Can you imagine? And then that big tumor in the arm, melanoma tumor, a few tumor in the arm and the leg is gone. And then 3 months later, they didn't die. They go back to the radiation oncologist asking for more low dose radiation, and then there is complete remissions. Okay, just by this kind of a low dose radiation. So it's an incidental finding, the abscopal effect, how low dose radiation convert the tumor into an in situ tumor vaccine while the tumor is on the patient itself. You can convert any tumor into a vaccine while the tumor is on the body. Okay, that's the solid tumor that we're talking about. Well, of course, not forgetting the liquid tumor, the embryonic cancer stem cell. Take your blood, send to the lab in Greece, and then well, one part of the idea is to register your clinic so that we can get them to send you boxes Actually, it's very simple. We can just get the box to you. There's a photo of the box later in the slide and whatever, but I think we have no time. We can leave it to the next talk. Important thing is that the boxes has tubes, and then you can get these boxes, 2 or 3, put into your clinic, and anytime if the patient is there, if you want to draw blood and send to the lab and then do some tests. It's 31 page, okay, the embryonic cancer stem cell test. It has a lot of suggestions of what to do, and then such many wonderful solutions for that. And then, well, the whole idea of the embryonic cancer stem cell isolation, detection, expansion is the therapeutic. There is a therapeutic options available, which excite me so much, because the antisense is a personalized cure for patients. It's a gene silencer. And then there is also a tumor vaccines available. They can make these tumor vaccines for mailing back to you in lyophilized form, and then you can make it mix it with the water and make it into 6 vaccine and introduce into the patient's body. Okay, so palliative low dose radiation should be given now instead of later. Well, if low dose radiation can cure an end stage waiting to die melanoma patients 6 months down the road, why can't you do it now? That is my take. Okay, well, there is a cancer patient, there is a vaccine for every cancer patient. So how to do a relapse-free complete remission? Maybe we should be the next talk. I want to show you one more slide talking about, maybe one more slide talking about, yes, sample, how do we get a 31 page of this report? Okay, take a blood, sample will arrive to Greece, they go to the lab will do a quarantine, and then they will do a testing, and then they'll see whether it qualified or not. If it's qualified to go all the way into expansion and generation of tumor vaccine, they will tell you, okay, this blood is okay. And then once they quarantine this blood, nobody knows this blood is from Malaysia or not. They will blind this. This is impressive. They would off the label and assign a number. Nobody knows this is male blood or female blood. Okay, nobody knows this is Malaysian blood or Australian blood. Nobody knows. And then it's blinded for everyone. It's coded. That's all. And then they go through standard all these 20 markers, and then they do testing. So first they do count. They give you 1 page of the report called the on-call trace, on-call trial, on-call count. Okay, they will give you they will tell you whether they have caught the emperor cell, the Akong, the great. This is not the CTC or whatever cells. This is the embryonic cells, which is the nano-SOX2, the earliest cells in the cancer cells floating in the blood. Okay, and then they can do expansioner tests and pre-expansioner tests. Okay, pre-expansioner test is genomic test talking about the origin. Where did the cancer cell come from? They can do an ACGS and tell you, like a mail with an address. Okay, this mail is going to where? Where would this cancer metastasize in the future? You are able to know it by metastat. This test will tell you this cancer stem cell would likely go to which area to cause problems. Well, this is especially useful for people who is liquidly having cancers, but not liquidly. You know, in this market, there are many patients. How would I say? I would say this. How would you know for sure in the next 10 years you would get cancer or not? Well, this is the test called the on-call trace, because the on-call trace is able to isolate the earliest hidden cancer cells in the body. Okay. Now, if you now detected you have some floating embryonic cancer stem cell, just like the bag of beans pour into your house. Okay, not every beans is already sprouting, right? So you are tumor-free, but not cancer-free, right? Do you know there are so many patients in this market now belongs to this group. Okay, as a matter of fact, I reckon on-call trace test for all doctors. Why? Because we have to protect ourselves first, right? So if you are detected with on-call trace positive, do you know you are rejected by all the hospitals? Nobody will treat you because you're not late enough, you're not sick enough. You understand? I mean, the limitation of oncology hospital is you got to have a tumor, you got to have a positive detectable visible tumor on PET scan. Somehow you have to have we have patients with rising cancer marker, you know, and PET scan is negative, doctors refuse to treat them. Okay, what's oxymoron is this? It's absolutely unacceptable. Okay, there is this earliest cancer detectable. Okay, this is what we call, once the oncotrace is positive, well, you can do ACGH to find where did this cancer likely to be coming from. Well, it's ACGH. Okay, we can explain this. Okay, now expansional test is what we call the cell is being isolated. They can grow into 127 vials. They will soak 60 vials into 60 type of chemo. Okay, they soak for 7 to 15 days and give you a report if the embryonic cancer stem cell don't die. The toughest cells, they grow into 127 vials. 60 vials, they soak in chemo. 60 vials, they soak in plant extracts. Okay, they will give you this plant extract, blah, 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 the studies. Okay. After that, the 7 vials, they'll keep for 7 years. And then out of these 7 years, that they could take 1 vial out to make the antisense. They open up the cells, they read the genome, they open the DNA and study the DNA and make RNA. They make DNA in RNA and then they make mRNA. They give you an mRNA blockers. Okay, and then the whole cells, they can crack it. They crack the embryonic cancer stem cell, and then the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the cancer nucleus, nucleoli, everything they crush and then make a powerful neoantigen for you to expose and train the human body to kill the akong. Okay, it's like there's this Chinese general they call Guan Gong and Zhang Fei. You know, this romance of the three emperor empire, three kingdom. You know, this emperor always this general. He's famous for one thing. He would just ride on the horse while the wine is still hot. He ride on the horse. He ram out. He will kill the big boss. They kill the big boss and then come back and then drink the wine. Okay, so if you kill the general, I mean, if you kill the emperor, the war is won. You know, so this is the kind of tumor vaccine we're talking about. And then you can even order monoclonal antibody, viral antagonists. They even produce antisense for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV. We have done antisense for hepatitis B, wonderful, okay? And then dendritic cell and also the cellular therapy is available from this personalized treatment for the patient. Okay, I want to explain what is the protocol for usually immediately we try to do antisense for the patients, no matter what, whether they do chemo, radio surgery, whatever it is. Get the SOT into their body immediately, sooner or later, as soon as possible. The SOT, it will help you to potentiate every kind of other treatment that you do. Okay, within 7 days, you introduce the tumor vaccine. Tumor vaccine is always 6 doses. You will do day 1, and then in between these three doses is 1 week apart. Okay, between the 3rd dose of the tumor vaccine and the 4th dose of tumor vaccine is 3 weeks apart, and then 1 week apart, and then 1 week apart. So this is 1 week and 1 week and 1 week and 3 weeks and 1 week and 1 week, and total 8 doses. The SOT is in the front, and then the SOT at the back, and then the tumor vaccine in between, and then you can sandwich in all your other therapy. Okay, what is antisense? This is a cancer stem cell. Okay, embryonic cancer stem cell. This is the DNA. So there is, for DNA to go through for a cancer to damage the human, the DNA needs to transcription. Transcription means DNA make RNA. Okay, the RNA go to the cytoplasm, and then you get the ribosome to do the translation. Transcription and translation. Okay, that's genetic and epigenetic manifestation. Well, SOT is the earliest epigenetic manifestation intervention. The earliest intervention for cancers, the intervention of cancer patient, the earliest intervention for cancer patient epigenetically is the SOT. SOT stands for supportive oligo, then deoxynucleotide, oligodeoxynucleotide therapy. Okay, ASODN, they call it antisense ODN. Okay, this is antisense. And we have been sending more than 200 RCCC report full tests for our cancer patient. We have done more than 120 SOT. we have done more than 60 over tumor vaccines already so far. So it is absolutely something that is exciting and wonderful that you can do. And for patients, it is a very important information for them to understand a permanent cure is available. And all they need to do and you need to do is to respect their immunity, importantly. Okay, that is the lab that I have been to in Greece, and that's me, that's Kelly, that's the, wow, this is 55,000 square feet space station kind of thing. Okay, this is like a class 1, class 2 kind of a cleanliness. Okay, this is not COVID. Okay, I didn't go for the COVID recent thing. It's not a COVID outbreak thing. Okay, but I saw these cancer cells, cancer stem cell growing in the lab, this, that, and then the nano-SOX2 is identified there. And first time in my life, I saw embryonic floating cancer stem cell from the patient's blood. And then they have published multiple studies, and up to 92 hours, the embryonic cancer stem cell don't die. When you draw the blood and put into the box, and then they send to Greece, all right, the embryonic cancer stem cell, they are so tough, they don't die. 92 hours, their viability is still very strong, okay? Up to 98% viability is still there. It's not a cancer stem cell is so tough. This is flow cytometer. We have another chapter talking about this. This nano-SOX2 CD13344. Yep, some of you have done something. Oh, one thing I want to say why cancer is so difficult to heal is because of cell fusions. Okay, the tumor-associated macrophage can eat the cancer cell and form a fusion body. These fusion cells is a big headache. So tumor cells is engulfed, and also sometimes they borrow your macrophage and float around. Okay, so it's a long haul. It's a very long haul of fight for cancer patient and also the tumor doctors. Okay, and we as a doctor, we must be able to train how to co-manage complications. We have to help the patient to detect pleural effusion, peritoneal effusion, hepatomegaly, edema, space-occupying problems, okay, malnourishment, sepsis, yeah. Cancer patient easily get sepsis, right? Okay, then you give them dexamethasone, 4 milligrams, 8 milligrams, 16 milligrams. Why? Please. Okay, make some sense. Okay, cardiac toxicity, doxorubicin too high, cardiac toxicity, do ECG, respiratory failure, lung problems that often due to over-treatment kind of thing. Okay, so that's about it. I want to remind everyone one more time. Okay, what is to be done? This slide also is stuck. If you have questions, you can post. And okay, things to be done: review and discuss existing cases if you have. If you have question and answer, we try to answer them. We will also post to you frequently asked questions. We aim to solve existing puzzle or investigation trend. If you have any topic you want to talk about, tell us. And of course, we know what we want to talk about. We have 36 lectures. 12 lectures is basic. 12 is intermediate, and 12 is advanced. Okay. Well, and then improve existing practice and treatment planning. Well, if you want us to help you to adjust and fine-tune your therapeutic, well, why not? Maybe learn some new skill, okay? And things to be done during this training is also managing existing complication, minimizing side effect, maximizing, optimizing the cure rate, okay? Now, most of you has received the topic of our next 12 module. And I think we hope we can meet maybe every 7 days or 10 days. The best is to solve some cases that you might have and improve referral to tertiary centers. I want to mention about MAFIM being the best platform right now, because MAFIM is a society with the best who is who in integrative field. And our president is Vijay, Dr. Vijay Andran. Vijay has been wonderful leading all of us. And we just want to give our best to this society. And I've talked to Paramjit as well, and our goal is to raise a huge army out of this Southeast Asia to be united in this platform, so that we can reach out to unlimited patients out there and family, and also their doctors. And then we want to use this platform as I go through this, finalizing all these slides and informations, and I want to work, put in all my effort into contribution of the master program coming up, because there's a master program by Marfim with the university locally, and aggressively we've been spending time, Sharol, Zawawi, a prof, our team members, okay, they are wonderfully designing this master program for the first time for the Southeast Asian people. And those of you who are listening now, it's the time for us to be putting down all our differences and be united and do something for our patients, and make it a big platform, so that we can form the forces together, and they need to hear us, and they need to see how we cure cancer once and for all. They need to unlearn, relearn, and de-learn, and network. And thank God for COVID, because we can gather easily. Well, today we have 28. I think one day this will be 2,800 people. And if I can speak to 500 people, just like that, okay? So thank God for virus, because of the virus, we have a new way to meet, and we no need parking, no need flying. And I also talk very intensively with Dr. H.M. Go. Well, he is not flying anymore. I'm not flying anymore. I think this is green. We don't need to fly. we can meet so many people, and we can easily talk. I know I'm talking to air now, but I know you guys are there, and I'm not afraid of telling you the truth, and I'm not afraid of curing patients anymore. And you can do the same thing too. Okay, if you have questions, you can post, and I can try to answer, or maybe we can call it a day and reply online. Okay. Esther, your questions? No, then we. Yep. How do I see chat, right? Go and see chat, poll, new share, participant, stop sharing, is it? Stop sharing, is it? And then go to chat, is it? Okay, chat, okay. Please send this link on WhatsApp. Sure, yes, doctor, everyone will be getting this link. Okay, I think you need to join our mastermind group in the Telegram. If you have more questions there, we will post more information there. Oh, Wafa is still waiting. Why are we not admitting Wafa? Wafa. Yeah, Wafa, Eberhadi, okay. Paru is there. Okay. Yeah, okay. If you have questions, well, every week, I think we try to maybe present some cases, and then if you have case, you want to ask question, yes. And most of our cancer patients see Dr. Vijay, they see Dr. Zawawi, they see many doctors, Dr. Lim Yu Cheng also in Glen Eagles in KL. Okay, he is a wonderful person, and we always see each other. We work together, and then we send patients blood to RGCC. We practice anti-sense. We do tumor vaccines. Sharo also. Yep, we don't work alone. We are in a group. I don't know whether Vijay is here. I think so. Is Vijay here? I think so. Okay. You want to unmute anyone? Oh, unmute, is it? Well, okay. Unmute everyone, is it? Okay, if anyone want to ask questions, if not, then type and then. Sorry about talking too long. Can you see me? Okay, my camera. Okay, that's me. If you want to talk about some subject, you can also suggest. Okay, but I hope. Widya.
It's here from Egypt.
Wafa, how are you? Yep.
I'm fine. How are you? Thank you very much for your lovely Look, whatever or how long you make your lecture, I am very happy to listen to it until the end.
I am sorry that you were waiting in the room and not admitted.
No, I was there from the beginning, and then it got cut off because I was driving while listening to the lecture, and then somehow it got cut off, and then I am back. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time. Tell me, do you recommend RGCC in a chemo-naive patient?
Yes, actually, see, RGCC is not just about a test, okay? They are the first lab 18, 19 years ago identified. As a matter of fact, they identified embryonic, circulating embryonic cells in the blood. That has to be cancerous, okay? When Yanis Papasoteriou presented this to the colleague, and he was heavily fired, and he's a triple certified doctor and medical oncologist, and also a lab scientist, and also a hematologist specialist, you know. So he's a triple board certified guy, and he introduced this concept of embryonic cancer stem cell to the world, and his lab is isolating this. I'm into this is because of the therapeutic options. When I discovered that they have therapeutic options, I was so excited, and this is personalized precision medicine, which is badly needed. Okay? Precise, personalized. Okay. Now in chemo naive patient, yes. Now if you like the case that I presented, Amy, I call her Amy. Okay. She's chemo naive. I mean, she doesn't want it. She was like coerced by like 4 or 5 different oncologists and say, if you don't do, you die. If you don't do, you die. And she doesn't want it. So she didn't do it. She didn't do it. And I reckon the reverse of our conventional thinking, okay? When we have a tumor, we cut, okay? After we cut, we chemo them. And then after that, we radiate them. And then we repeat. We repeat until the patient palliative and almost half dead. Oh, you are optionless. Okay, I will send you to a clinical study of immunotherapy. No, we do the reverse now. We start with immunotherapy, and then we do low dose radiations if there's a solid tumor. Okay, because this too is thinking vaccination. We are thinking exposing the occult hidden tumor into an obvious infection kind of antigen being obvious, okay? Because cancer is because of relapses. The relapses is because of undetectable hidden tumor antigen. They call it the neoantigen, okay? So this antigen is hidden. It is totally perfect and easy to overcome cancer like a flu. And every tumor is convertible into a vaccine, okay? If we reverse, what's wrong with reversing? Okay, you start with immunotherapy, you do low dose radiation, you let the patient survive and recover and strengthen the patient, teach them nutrition, supplementation, detoxification, remove whatever implants and amalgams, and give them strong nutrition, this, that, blah, 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 send them to holistic dentistry. I think the one and only Dr. Gan, the one and only very famous Dr. Gan in Singapore, the very much respected holistic dentistry dentist in Singapore, Ngee Ann City. That's Dr. Gan. I think Dr. Gan is here. I think so. Okay, thank you for joining. So send the patient to do all these things, okay, and make them nice, and all of a sudden you see tumor shrinking already. Okay, now when the tumor is shrinking already, if there is a remnant of tumor, maybe you do low dose radiation, chemo. Maybe you want to do chemo, you no longer need so high dose. Okay, maybe you no longer need 5 chemo. Maybe you use 1. You use VJ favorite carboplatin, carboplatin or whatever, you know. We can do some low dose chemotherapy, and then the tumor is gone. And if the tumor is still from 10 cm shrink to 1 cm and is here, well, maybe the surgery is the last. Okay, oh doctor, I really don't like this. I know it's inactive now. PET scan is negative, but it doesn't look good. Can you cut this tumor away? Why not? Why would I do a big mouth remover and then open up everything and then put a bone from tibia, fibula? Oh man, so disfiguring. We can think the other way around. Why not? Why not we do the other way around? Well, our patient usually stage 4, and we try this, and it's working very well. And I'm not ashamed, and not afraid to tell you that this thing works, okay? And I am not afraid of telling the oncologists that they need to change, and all of us can change together and benefit the patient.
Of course, Kenny, yesterday I was talking with one of the oncologists, my friends, and just mentioning that cancer feeds on sugar, he sent me like, look, this is a lie, this is a myth. Look, Dana-Farber wrote this, Sloan Memorial wrote this, the ASCO wrote this cancer is a myth. So I told him, listen, read the Otto Warburg Nobel Prize Cancer and Energetics, read for Thomas Fried, you're a scientist, and I will not give you proof. I will not waste. I wanted to tell him I do not want to waste my time with someone like you.
Exactly. Kelly, you want to come see this one? Kelly is here. Hi, it's good to see you. Great. So yes, it's very true. Yeah, all we need to do is to let the doctors know. Well, when you see a tumor 10 cm, 8 cm is good cells, so 2 cm is bad cells, and then they are the cancer cell. The cancer stem cell, the embryonic cell is no longer inside there. It's like the bad guys is behind the mirror while you're trying to interrogate the bad guys and say, hey, where's your boss? But the boss is behind the mirror kind of thing. So tumor has very little embryonic cancer stem cell anymore. But what makes the tumor aggressive is the embryonic and trophoblastic nature, that they are obliged, they are so primitive that they have to breathe anaerobically. They don't need mitochondria, and they cannot give you 38 ATP. They can't. They are not designed to give you 38 ATP. They are just giving you 2 themselves, and they will give you tons of lactic acid, and then they can make your body into glutaminolysis. They use your glutamine, they burn your glucose, they burn your protein, they burn your fat. But most likely they are most of the tumor, I would say more than 70 to 80%, they are firstly preferring glucose. That's why ketogenic diet works, and all the anti-glycolytic, very famous redo protocol, all the other anti-glycolytic. We will talk about this as well in our lecture and also our series. And those of you who have not received the 12 module content, we can send to you also. And
Yep.
Telegram. Okay.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Thank you, Kenny.
I wanted to talk to people outside Malaysia. If you're from other countries, I believe we should network radiation oncologists and immunotherapists. We have to talk to them, immunotherapists, people who can master the usage of ipilimumab, nivolumab, pembrolizumab, PD-L1, PD-1 blockers, these people. And I was heavily inspired by this Dr. Ralph-Cliff. Ralph-Cliff was in Germany talking about the IMM, and it was great. And this immunotherapy is, we need to network with these immunotherapies there, and maybe larger university centers to launch this vaccine first movement. Cancer vaccine first. First thing in our mind is vaccination first. Why not? As the world is looking for COVID-19, COVID-19, we can't solve the problem. Vaccine. Let's think about vaccine. Come on, the cancer killing like crazy, okay? Just worse, much worse than COVID-19. And why is vaccine is not thought of? We can do very cheap vaccine. Okay, of course, RGTC costs something. Okay, the liquid tumor stem cell, isolating them, expanding them, is like growing cancer stem cell in your lab. Of course, it costs some money, right? But I believe it is very cheap to make a vaccine out of the tumor while the tumor is on the human body. Let the tumor stay there, and then every day, the tumor will release antigen every now and then.
Okay, Kenny, I will leave you now. I will listen to the rest with us, and I'm looking forward to starting the modules with you and interact and actually exchange experiences. That would be fantastic.
Yes, if I can help you to establish the team there, that's wonderful. Let's talk to some radiation oncologists, immunotherapists, and then dietitian, nutritionists, food therapists, and then physiotherapy and machine and hypothermia, this, that, and integrative team. This is a movement, not just to us. It should be in Egypt, it should be in around the world. And then every big thing starts from small, every small thing starts from you and me, okay?
Yes, you know, I have a doctor. He has been taught by Thomas Seyfried in John Hopkins UCSF, and now he brought photodynamic therapy local and hyperthermia and ozone. So he uses this with the patients with IVC. So I think this is a good beginning. Okay,
Exactly, wonderful.
let's talk with you,
Yeah,
100%.
I have a lot of, yes, I have a lot of Indian friends here as well. I think the India friends that they have joined this conference is wonderful webinar.
I become very happy to listen it that she's using ozone therapy.
Yes, Dr. Paro, yes, wonderful. India is the Mecca for me. You know, we always go to India for oxidative, ozone, OFI, Dr. Malaysia, and then a whole bunch of wonderful. Dr. Parik is a very famous doctor who practicing in Mumbai. And his Z10 pass machine is wonderful. He's the one and only person there is helping a lot of cancer patients there. And we have patients co-manage, and then we send patients to her. And then she's a very patient-centered lady doctor that is wonderful. And I'm very honored to know a lot of good people from India. And I also want to recommend and also encourage Indian doctors to network with radiation oncologists or even oncologists who is interested to form larger network of integrative movement and immunotherapy and then immunostimulations and then all these things is wonderful. We should deploy this.
I'll just ask one of my friend who is a radio oncologist. So I'll ask him to join with us.
Why not? We should be sharing all this paper because I read their paper also. Just in case
that is what.
Okay, remember everyone, there would be brochure sent to you, email. There will be clinical paper. There will be video link. There will be how-to video link. There will be also PDF. And there will be material like DVD, VCD, and all these things, supporting material for revision. Then to make it effective, I don't want to waste your time, and I want to make sure that you are able to practice the next day. Okay, we have a chat. There is a chat. Our US trained dentist, holistic dentist here does not recommend removal of amalgam once patient had cancer. Yes, it is very true. Now, how many of you actually open the mouth of the patients and look inside and take photo and record the number of amalgam tooth that they have? Okay, well, amalgam tooth used to be a thing that I put down on my clinic list. No, now is number 2. Number 1 is diet. We change the patient's diet. Number 2 is immediately is the amalgam and heavy metal and all these implants, and we put it very high in our list so that we want to get rid of these problems. And of course, now this is not without a reason why they don't recommend removal of amalgam, because once you disturb it, is of course there is a lot of disturbance, like in a very dirty fish tank. If you start to clean it and all the dust come out and you stir up a lot of dust, that is also very true. But in ours, I used to remove like 7 or 8 amalgam in one go. That's bad. The patient do very badly. So the recommendation is either one quadrant, 4 quadrant, right? 1 quadrant you can do, or sometimes you can do 1 per month kind of thing, slowly remove them, or somehow start them on chelation first, somehow give them a gut chelator, a rectal chelator, oral chelator, IV chelator, natural and also proper chelator, DMSA, oral DMSA, maybe IV DMPS, and then IV DMSA, IV DMPS and zinc DTPA kind of thing, IV chelator such as EDTA as well. That is also wonderful. But mercury remover is oral DMSA and IV DMPS. Okay, DMPS is available in US and also in Australia. Yes, Australia DMPS IV is available. And then IV DMPS is Germany is also available, and it's zinc DTPA. This one I learned from Lenny Da Costa, Dr. Lenny Da Costa, from my teacher from India, and this is wonderful teacher for chelation. And well, I miss the world because I don't fly there very much already, but it's the same. Okay, meeting up you guys online is the same. Okay, all right. So that is a reason why he say that holistic dentists don't recommend removal of this amalgam. But it's a problem that we need to solve anyhow anyway. So pretty sooner or later, we need to address this issue. But it is also to help us to understand heavy metal toxicity is a hindrance of immunity revival, because sometimes the patient don't do too well in abscopal effect and anti-cancer cancer rejection immunity development might not be that astonishingly that established in the patient, is because of these hindrances of healing there. So identifying all these hindrances of healing and helping the patient to remove them, it's important. Okay, join our Telegram, and I think that's it. We have to stop already. If you have any more burning questions, I will reply them. Okay, send us email, drop us a call, and I don't hold up too much of your time already. I gotta go. Okay, see you next sessions. Okay, and then the replay will be sent to you if you need the replay, or send to your team or your friends who missed this. Don't worry, I'm around. Okay.
I get it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. End meeting for